this idea will skyrocket your ability to focus deeply. Cognitive focus follows visual focus. I'll repeat, cognitive focus follows visual focus. Here is how you can verify this idea in the real world. Sit at your working desk and start rapidly moving your eyes from the screen, that maybe you're working on your laptop, to the desk, to the other part of the room, to the ceiling, to the window. Rapidly move your eyes and see what happens with the state of your attention. Or sit in a cafe and start rapidly moving your eyes from one person to another person, to the street, to different parts of the table, to different elements of the coffee shop. Now, let's do something different. Sit at your work desk and without even doing anything, without accomplishing any task, just look at the screen for 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and try to notice how better prepared you are to engage in the task. Or if you're sitting in a coffee shop, bring a book with you. So after you have tried rapidly moving your visual focus from one person to another person and checking out different elements of the coffee shop, take 30 or 40 seconds and just open the book at any page and look at the page for 30 or 40 seconds and see how better prepared you are to focus deeply and start reading and continue reading without getting distracted. Now, how do we actually practice this? I wouldn't advise practicing it, as I said, staring at the screen, staring at the page. We wanted something to be slightly further away from us for our eye health, and we want to be practicing it or implementing it in two different ways. As a priming exercise, like I just explained, to take 30, 40 seconds and then you can progress for more and more, increase for 10 seconds, sometimes in 5 seconds, depending on where you're currently at every couple of days. So as a priming exercise to use before engaging in a task, and as a separate training activity where you will strain yourself more for the sake of overall development of your ability to focus. So if it wasn't clear by now, what do we mean when we say cognitive focus follows visual focus? Is the fact that cognitive focus, that is what we usually perceive as attention and as focus, this is not what occurs first. Because we are visual creatures, your visual focus, that is where your eyes or what your eyes are fixated on, and the ability to keep your eyes fixated on to something is what directs cognitive focus. So why is it helpful when working to not have things moving around you? Why do some people put on hoodies when locking in, as people say nowadays? Why do people lock themselves in rooms? Or we do have other people working at coffee shops because of the aspect of accountability or that positive social pressure. However, you are way more likely to be focused and working well in a coffee shop where other people are working, so there is not a lot of movement that you're perceiving with your peripheral sight, let alone a lot of movement that you are focusing on and trying to follow with your eyes. So the ability to place your eyes on a fixed point or a limited surface is what drastically increases the ability to place and maintain your cognitive focus on a certain task. I explained two different ways to practice it. Now I'm going to challenge you to engage in the latter, the second practice that I explained, to engage with me, because if you do this even a couple of times per week, let alone every day, the difference in your ability to focus is going to be pretty unbelievable. So what I'm going to invite you to do is to engage in this exercise with me for 3 minutes. Here are the rules. Here is how to actually do this. when you select a point where you're going to that you're going to focus on, as I said, let's not when practicing this now, you're going to maybe do it with me, maybe you're going to select a point. If you want to engage in a staring contest with me, that's okay. But in the future, I advise to choose something that's at least 1.5 or 2 meters away from you. I'm not sure what it is in freedom units. And what you're supposed to do is focus intensely. So it's intense visual focus. You're not supposed to just stare and let your eyes passively rest on that point. Because what is going to happen is in a matter of seconds, 10, 15, 20 seconds, you realize that you haven't been actually looking at that thing. Your eyes were directed there, but you haven't been watching it actively, looking at it, seeing it actively. So you need to strain your eyes a bit in the beginning in order to really have an intense visual focus, and not to get complacent, not to let your eyes either wander around on a different point, or not to let your eyes and with them your mind get lazy and you are engaging in all kinds of distracting thoughts and daydreaming, and then you realize that your eyes haven't been actually perceiving that object or that point. So in this case, you can engage in a staring contest with me, because I'll be staring at the camera, or you can choose anything around you that's around 1.5, 2 meters away. Let me try to say in freedom units that would be, I don't know, what, like 6 or 7 feet. And we're going to do it for 3 minutes. For 3 minutes. Once again, intense visual focus. Bonus points if you blink as little as possible, or if you don't blink at all in 3 minutes, but don't strain your eyes too much. Okay, we are starting in 10, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we are done. I blinked way more than I expected, but it is the end of the day for me after looking at the screen for most of the day and working. So I'm going to give myself that as an excuse, but either way, you shouldn't feel bad if you blinked a lot. Again, that's better than straining your eyes too much and maybe even hurting yourself. I would like to know how this felt. Was it challenging? Was it more challenging than expected? Was it easier than expected? Was it just as you expected? And when it comes to you feeling the actual effects, I would like for you to report the effects of doing this as a priming exercise before a task for 30 to 40 seconds and doing it for longer periods of time, like 2 or 3 minutes, multiple days in a row. So then you can report and say how it felt. Maybe the first and the simplest thing to do is actually to do it for 30 or 40 seconds as a priming exercise. Let me know how it worked. I can guarantee that this works because I've been doing it for years at this point as both a priming exercise and a visual, or excuse me, attention training exercise. So yeah, I'm willing to share more of these things. This is something that I actually propose and ask all of my clients to do, people in my community to do. So this is something that I stand behind because it's actually part of my work. Let me know if this is even interesting to you and if you would like to hear more about how I approach training my attention, not for the sake of being a productivity machine, but for the sake of living my mission, living my purpose, because I know that most people that watch me are interested in living a more fulfilling and meaningful life and being able to get things done on the way to their passion, mission, purpose, rather than just becoming productivity machines for the sake of doing a lot of things. So let me know if this is interesting. Let me know any questions that you might have related to this or other topics that I talk about, what you want to see more from me. And yeah, I will do my best to deliver. Thank you.